For me, the advanced dancer is the dancer that has embodied several elements of the dance with ease.
When you just have like this advanced class, people do advanced class for 6 months and they think they've learned it all.
To get someone from not knowing Brazilian Zouk into being advanced, that takes so much time.
This study group is very much trust the process, show up, and the miracle will happen.
Man, all this excitement, all this fire to join the team, now that people are in the team, start missing classes,
If somebody asks you to go to a dinner on that night, you're like, hell no, I have team.
Team is almost like there is this thing we want to do and we want a group of people that share that excitement that we can do it with.
It's a team. They know they're going to work hard every week and their dancing will be better in 3 months. I don't care how many spins, toalhas, counterbalances you can do. Your timing sucks. What makes advanced classes, study groups, and teams different? Are they all the same? Well, let's find out. Hello everyone, and welcome back to ZoukNerds. In this episode, we are talking about another highly requested topic, the differences between advanced classes, study groups, and teams. If you've ever wondered why there are so many different kinds of classes, you are in the right place. We'll explain how each level serves a unique purpose in a dance's progression, from mastering the fundamentals to completely embodying the dance. Whether you are a student or a teacher, this is your guide to building a strong foundation and a clear path forward. We'll break down the purpose of each one to help you find the best path for yourself and your student's journey. So, let's go! Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. Once again, my name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome back our beautiful co-host, Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone, and welcome to you if this is your first episode. I don't think we've ever said that before, but this may be your first episode, and we hope to not scare you too far away, because we're here every week, hopefully every Wednesday, unless sometimes we get a little delayed on the editing. But welcome for any of you who are joining us for the first time. We're very excited to have you here. And today we're going to be talking about what are the differences between advanced classes, study groups, and teams. For those of you who haven't been here long enough, this is something that we talk a lot about. And we've had people reaching out to us to ask, what is the difference between these things that you guys talk about? Like, yeah, I get it. Beginner's course, intermediate course, advanced class. But from advanced class to study groups to teams, are they all the same level? Do they all learn the same thing? Why are there 3 different things? So we're going to explain that to you guys. And also, hopefully, this could give you an idea to do something in your school, in your community, or a group of friends who wants to practice and get better at dancing, whether that is Brazilian Zouk or anything else. So, if you were in our previous episode, we talked about advanced classes and how we see advanced classes and how we think of what an advanced class is and of what an advanced dancer is. And Gui, you had a very particular way to explain this. So I would like to give that to you and let the children have it. What is the advanced class or the advanced dancer, like you said in the last episode?
Yeah. Well, I was saying in the last episode that I have a strong pet peeve when it comes to naming a class advanced. Because for me, the advanced dancer is the dancer that has embodied several elements of the dance with ease. You don't need to explain to them what a bonus is and how to connect this to that. And it just flows. So the advanced dancer is, for me, very hard to achieve, especially when we are talking about teaching people like progression of curriculum. To get someone from not knowing how to dance Brazilian Zouk into being advanced in Brazilian Zouk, that takes so much time because it's not a matter of how much they know necessarily. It's a matter of embodiment of the dance. And that thing takes time. So that's why for me, we don't have advanced courses. We don't have advanced classes in regular classes unless you have that same person over there continuously for like 5 years, continuously. Well, that's something important to say. Continuously for all this time, which gave them time to really embody the dance. So to get there, it's hard to keep everybody engaged for that long, you know?
Yeah, so I guess a lot of the times when we are planning our courses, whether it's in DC, Australia, here in Taipei, when we're going into what most people call advanced levels, we like to label them for what they are. This is a course in two-to turns. This is a course in counterbalance. This is a course in musicality. This is a course in connection, elasticity. The list goes on forever. Because once you completed the basics levels, and then you completed the fundamentals levels, you've learned a lot of variations, you've learned a lot about connections, you've completed the head movement levels, then we can go into other topics, ideas, other subjects, other soft skills, other challenges, where you could just very easily label that as the advanced class. Oh, but we do all of that in our advanced course. That's why we have a problem with that level name, not with that level content. And let me backtrack a little bit here. A while back, we used to call our courses beginner, intermediate, advanced. And then, because through so many years, people were like, oh, I want to join the intermediate level. Oh, why? Because I've been dancing for 10 years. I don't want to do the beginner's level. It's too easy for me. And then what do we tell them that they're missing? You're missing the basics. So then we thought, why don't we name the courses basics courses? Because before you learn the intermediate level of any dance or anything, you need to learn the basics of that thing, whatever that is. Even cooking, massaging, gardening, you need to learn the basics. So we start with the basics levels, not the beginner classes, beginner courses, basics levels. Then what is the intermediate? For us, the intermediate is the fundamentals, the things that you need to know beyond the basics. If you're very curious about that, you can go to districtzouk.com and just have a look at that to get more details about it. But that's an example of the fundamentals. And then beyond that, we start naming things for what they are. This is the body awareness course. This is the elasticity course. Like head movement from zero course. I don't think we've ever used that, but like head movement 1, head movement 2, head movement 3. Then we go on and on and on, because then the journey is forever, And when you just have like this advanced class, people do advanced class for 6 months and they think they've learned it all. I could tell you 3 years of courses and still be at the beginning of how many advanced topics we can cover, or advanced classes topics we could name. So I think that's the start of the explanation, what we see as an advanced class. So we can then go into a study group, and then we go into teams and make that very clear distinction, because for us, it's very clear. But for any of you who have never heard of it or never experienced it, it might be very different.
In the end of the day, guys, it's a lot of matter of naming the thing. The idea of naming it study group came from actually Brazil. We realized that the higher level classes, they were named study groups mostly because it's that idea of a group that studies. It's like a group that gets together in a room and like, let's dive deeper. Let's see this thing a little bit further. So for us here, the study group is the last stage of our curriculum, where people went through all these courses, all the basics courses, all the fundamentals courses, and all the head movement courses and everything in between. For example, right now we have a body movements course, which is a course completely focused on undulations, isolations, and preparing the body, loosening up the spine into the head movement courses. Or it's one of the courses that can prepare you for that. And before I continue, there is one thing that just popped up in my head that I want to share real quick, guys. We don't necessarily consider the head movements, that you know head movements, that you can do head movements, like that you are advanced level or that you are more experienced. We know, you know, we all know that Brazilian Zouk is this very particular dance where you can jump into head movements right away if you want, get really good at it, while skipping the whole part. I can maybe ask somebody that knows how to do toalha to combine our simple turn with the bolos with the elástico, and that person not be able to make this combination while be able to do toalha into side chicote, into chicote, you know? So it's not necessarily a correlation, the complexity of head motion with this full embodiment of the dance that we were talking about as the advanced dancer. Yeah? I have seen this so many times. Alison probably has seen this so many times as well. We have a priority. Priority for us is that you understand the vertical part of the dance as much as possible. The footwork, the traveling, the connection. The head movements are going to be placed on top of this solid foundation vertically. So that's why before we get to the head movement courses, there is 7 other courses to go through, you know, before you go into the actual paloma apagado, frango assado, and all of these things. Né? So the study group comes after the head movement courses.
And so just to put a parenthesis or a bracket there, 7 courses, that means more than 1 year before you touch head movements.
Yes.
Before you go into head movements, you've already been dancing for close to 1.5 years. That's how long it takes in the way that we structure it. Because how many people out there do head movements, or they do very advanced movements, but they do with very beginner technique. Very, very beginner technique. So they can handle it, they can survive it, but they're not embodied. They're not understanding it. They cannot improvise if something goes out of script. It's just like emergency body roll and basic stat because they couldn't continue anymore. So yeah, let's continue.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly that. And the study group is what comes after we completed all the head movement courses, who are 3 of them for us right now. And guys, we just have these numbers of 7 courses, 3 courses. It's mostly because of how we were able to build the progression. In your place, your progression might be completely different because of, you know, many different circumstances. For us, we can do that right now. And we cannot do much more than that, because if we do much more than that, we simply don't have space in the schedule to offer more than this amount of courses. We already have too many.
Yeah.
So the study group is when you go after the head movement courses, and it's a ongoing course, like in the style that we used to have in Brazil. I think we still do, that the course begins and just keeps going. And whoever joins in whatever point we are in that course. So we have actually in the study group, like more diversity of levels. We have somebody who has been in the study group for 3 cycles, so that's 6 months. And we have somebody who is just arriving in the study group fresh from the head movement courses, you know? So we do have this variety of levels that makes it more challenging at times, because somebody have done, let's say, a combination that combines all the things from the head movement courses with somebody who's just arriving and doesn't know those things. So it's actually a really fun and challenging moment for us to bring everybody together in this way. And the thing we talked about a couple episodes ago, your engagement as a teacher can make a big difference in situations like that, because in the rotation or as you go through with students, you do the thing we talked about in the episodes. Give those who can get a little bit more. Like now you guys go here, go there. So you have the thing you do, you teach everyone, and you have the thing that you might be able to give a little bit more to some of the students around. So that's our study group. That's how we structure it. I know, for example, in another city, I remember that New York had study groups, but it was really more of the idea of people who got together to exchange, so it was more of a horizontal thing. And then I think they progressed into it becoming a class. There's someone teaching everyone. Yeah, but with this idea of more experienced people in the room.
Yeah, so a study group can be pretty much anything. Honestly, it could be just a group of friends doing a study group and sharing things that they learned. Could be a group of friends, once again, learning together something new, or just giving feedback and practicing. But in terms of how we teach the study groups, is really, I think, the dream of a class for a lot of teachers, which is the class that I would label as trust the process. Because let me just make this very clear. Guys, in the study groups, sometimes you're just going to walk. Sometimes you're going to do a spin for a couple of weeks. But then other weeks, we're just going to walk and we're just going to work on weight transfers. Oh, but that's beginner. Nope, that's not beginner. Because honestly, that weight transfer that we're looking for is the embodiment weight transfer. It's not the weight transfer that you can just keep your timing and feel your partner's weight transfer. No, we're going beyond that type of weight transfer. Oh, we're learning body movement. Yes, we're learning body movement in study group, but then we're diving deeper. We're exploring different entrances, different exits, different pathways. So it's not whatever comes after head movements and the levels below, but it's everything from the beginning through all the levels that they have already done and beyond. It just changes. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It's something that it's not for everybody. And it's something that it's not every teacher that can feel comfortable teaching, because some teachers prefer more structure. Some students prefer more structure. This study group is very much trust the process, show up, and the miracle will happen. Really go for it. Go for it. And there's no time to end. It just keeps going. That's the goal of the study group. To always be evolving. Where to? Nobody knows. What are we working towards? Becoming better dancers, becoming more embodied dancers. But there's no end goal. There's no destination other than becoming better every day.
Yeah, it's free in a way too. Not having like a set curriculum. For example, in our last cycle of study group, we spent 3 or 4 weeks on the same topic. It was because the topic has so much to explore. And the topic was a combination. The topic was actually a combo. It was not even a combination, it was a combo. So it was a new pattern that had different elements. When we started diving into each element of that combo, we started to realize it is a combination of fundamentals done in a way that is hard to perceive that is that fundamental. So there was a peão there, but it didn't look like it very much. So we needed to go back, let's do peão a little bit. There was frango assado there, but because it was coming in from another thing, people didn't perceive as a simple frango assado. So we go back to the frango assado. So then we have time. You can spend time in the study group, which is amazing to me. I love it. To just have this freedom to work a little bit more. And after that, I don't know if it's after that, actually. Sometimes it's almost like something separate. It's like something that is there, but it's not necessarily part of the whole. It's our idea of teams. And for us, the teams are, again, sometimes there's a theme for the team, and sometimes there is like more experienced people getting together for an amount of time. Sometimes the teams, they have a season. So they have the duration of the cycle, 2 months or more than 2 months. They go a little longer. And we audition people into the team because we are looking for specific features so we can do that specific work.
That's one of the biggest differences between the study group and the team. There's an assessment and there's a minimum level requirement that we want to see in the dancers in that team because of the result that we want to achieve with that team. Whereas the study group is more of a flowing thing.
Yeah. And we started having more training teams. We used to have performance teams, like choreography teams, more. But now we have one performance team, like the followers team. But most of the teams that we have had so far, they are training teams. We noticed a shift in interest in the community from learning choreographies to, getting more the technique down, getting more stuff down. And the qualifications that we require are different. For example, there was a performance team recently and didn't need that much. It was just really because we're putting together choreography. So, it's okay. But if we are going for a more experienced team, then the process a little bit more. The criteria, it's a little different or a lot different, actually. So that would be the biggest difference that we have. The study group is sort of part of the curriculum, part of the natural progression of the curriculum. And a student can get there going through the whole thing. To get into the team is harder. There's an audition and the whole thing is like an hour thing. So it's a different process.
Yeah, it's like we normally do an hour and a half or two, and it goes like 60 people, 50 people in the room, and we're going to pick 6 couples. We're going to pick 8 couples. That is because we have always something very set for the team that we want to achieve. It could be a theme, like Gui said, but definitely for me, when I'm looking for a team, I'm looking for a shift. I'm looking for a transformation for that group that can be seen, can be felt, that they will understand that there was a transformation from the beginning to the end. That to me is very important for them to understand. And that's why I like to separate them in seasons. So this season, we're going to do this. This season, we're going to do that. This season, we're going to do that. And the other reason why I like to separate in seasons is because, again, the team is not for everybody, just like the study group is not for everybody. So it gives people a set time commitment of, let's say, 4 months to start this and to end this. Maybe they want to do it again. Maybe they don't want to do it again. Maybe they want to go back to the study group. Maybe they just want to chill for 2 months and not do any classes. So it gives people that flexibility to think about it as a project. As well as sometimes the people who are in the team are not putting in the effort, not showing up, not practicing, or maybe missing a lot of classes. Well, if they're missing a lot of classes, we just don't let them continue. But if they missed enough classes that they couldn't keep up, it wouldn't make sense for them to continue in another season. So that's why we do assessments again. So basically at the end of every team, everybody goes back to zero. And then we invite the whole community again in, and let's do another team. And it might be a lot of the people in the previous team or not. Every time it changes. But the team definitely has like a goal to achieve, and it's a level that we push. We work hard. It's kind of like more fire instead of more chill. That's the idea of the team.
And there is this part that is complicated and interesting, right? At the same time, when we do the auditions, there is all this excitement, all these people in the room. And then when they don't go well in the audition, they send you a message after, can I re-audition? I was not feeling very well, blah, 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 blah. Then you go ahead and start the team, and then this thing starts happening. People miss class several times in a row. They don't come to training several times in a row. And then you wonder, man, all this excitement, all this fire to join the team, now that people are in the team, start missing classes, And then you realize that they had a lot of stuff scheduled for the time, for the day of the team. And like, man, but why audition? So that's why I think it's really important for us to do it in seasons and reset from zero. Because when that person comes back again and wants to audition again, you have this consideration at the back that, man, you audition, you pass the team, but out of 16 trainings, you missed like 6 of them, which is a big number. That's the interesting part of the team that I don't think we were fully able yet to figure out a way. Maybe we need like a longer interview process. Can you come to 70% of the training if nothing happens, like traffic, snow, you get sick, something happens, like in normal conditions of life, can you come to most trainings? I think we might need
for
to
me,
do an audition and then an interview and then let them in.
For me, that's too easy on the team. I want them to come when it snows. I want them to come when it floods. I want them to come when they're whatever. If I can arrive there, you can arrive there.
Yes, that's true.
Just kidding, guys, of course. But like, just kidding, kind of, but not really. But, like for me, the team is that level. That level of like, if somebody asks you to go to a dinner on that night, you're like, hell no, I have team. If anything happens and it's not a real emergency, you should be in the team. That to me is the level of commitment of the team. Whereas a normal regular course or maybe the study group is something that you're like, okay, I'm okay catching up next week. But the team is more like commander bootcamp style, I think. If you auditioned to enter some team, I think you need to show that commitment. Yeah, a lot of the times the flakiness is a big issue. And I find, to be very honest, that the flakiness comes more from the people who think that they are very advanced, very much. So a lot of the times in auditions, there are many dancers that are famous in the community for people thinking that they're amazing and they don't make it to my team. Why? Because I don't feel the commitment. Are they good dancers? Yes. Do they have potential? Yes. Are they that amazing? No, not in my opinion. They could be if they actually took it seriously. But maybe they are just dancers for the entire life, so they pick things up very quickly. No, I don't like that. I want students like me. I'm the kind of person who wants to do things a million times just to understand it, and then to feel it, and then to process it, and then to play with it, and then to deconstruct it, and then to build it again, and then to change colors. Like that kind of student. So sometimes you'll see that in the teams, it's not like, oh my God, the most advanced people in the community. No. To me, the team is the most hardworking people in the community that I want in my team. So yes, there are times that some of the highest levels in the community don't make it, but some of the people below make it. And they're like, oh, wow, thank you for having me in my team. I didn't think I was going to pass. I saw everybody in the room and I was like, oh, I have no chance. I'm like, look, I feel you. I've seen you. I've watched you in class and in the socials and in before class, after class. You're very dedicated. You want to get better. No matter what happens in class, you're open to experience things and to change things up. Sometimes when we tell you to change things up, you're there. You're embracing it. You're embodying it. And I think that's the team spirit. Now, the people who are like, don't have that, but maybe they dance and they can do more things, more techniques, and they may be a better dancer. But for me, they're not a better team member. That's very different. I think, for example, for those people, I probably would have like a study group, more of a study group. Like, come, do as you wish, participate as you can, and go with the flow. Sure. But the team, I want sweat. It needs to be more that mentality, which is, again, different from your regular advanced class study groups. So if you're thinking about building a team, think about what style do you want? Do you want more of like a course? Do you want more of like a team/study group? Or do you want more of like a training team where people have a different mentality on how they approach that learning?
Yeah, because the way we think about teams, here and there in Taipei is this space that we have as teachers to communicate something that we might not have the opportunity to communicate with everyone. So we audition to see who is more prepared to receive that content. So maybe the level of emotional investment that we have in the process of learning is different. And we really have this desire of sharing this thing with this group of people. So when the commitment is less, the frustration that we feel, I think, is different. I feel a different kind of frustration. For example, if somebody misses a class in a curriculum class, in a fundamentals course, I'm like, oh, it's okay, But when somebody misses a class in the training, I'm noticing that because the smaller group, it's a group that was selected after a process. So I noticed that that person is missing and I feel that absence, and it feels different in a way. Yeah.
The group gets affected. For me, when a team member misses the team training, they're affecting the group, not just the class.
Yeah. There's something happens. There's a thing that happens in the flow of the whole thing, especially if we are building up to something. If we are slowly creating the whole foundational aspect of thinking, something that we are building up towards, and there is absence during the process, it does mess it up, And I know there are places that think about teams differently. Some schools that understand they have the teams as a progression in their curriculum. So they have their level 1, 2, and then boom, the first team. I think in Seattle, they have this process. So they have a beginner team, an intermediate team, an advanced team, and another team after the advanced team. So I think there are like 4 teams. And I think there are 6-month long commitments. It's a monthly fee. So the team is thought differently in the sense that it's a progression. I don't know if there are additions. I think there are additions for the higher ones. But for the first ones, you complete the curriculum courses or you can go straight into them. I don't know exactly. But they think teams differently than we think. I think for us, team is almost like a selfish passion project that we have. Yeah, there is this thing we want to do. And we want a group of people that share that excitement that we can do it with. So it works differently as well for us.
Yeah, a lot of the times we see a group of students wanting, or we hear a group of students wanting something different. And we're like, okay, we can do a team on that. But to do that, we need to select the people. We need, to have 3 or 4 months to get a group from A to B. There needs to be a minimum baseline. So that's why the team is very different. And I know that a lot of communities, teams are choreographed. All of the teams that we're talking here, we're talking about social dancing teams, social dancing training teams. When we say choreography teams, that's a different story, but only the followers team is, I believe, half choreographed because they still have the technique training class and then the choreography class. So it's kind of half-half. It's not even a full choreography course. It's half-half. But the ones that we do, they're usually just social dancing. And the one that I'm doing here in Taipei, it's the same thing. It's just social dancing. And it's interesting because what we did here in Taipei is that we asked everybody what classes they're going to miss before they sign up. Oh, do you want to sign up? Okay, cool. Those are the dates. Are you going to be here for all the dates? If not, let me know. And people are pretty sticking to it. Like they don't miss any other class. So maybe that's an idea, to ask people to commit and show them the dates and ask them to tell maybe a Google questionnaire. Please put yes or no if you're going to be here. And then later you can come back to it if you have an issue with the students and go like, hey, what happened to all of these weeks that you said you're going to be here? Oh, this happened. Of course, being in big cities like DC, Taipei, Melbourne, or whatever, a lot of people travel for work. A lot of people have things going on and sometimes it happens. But communication is everything. So that's something that we expect extra in a team. That forward communication, that honesty instead of just like, oh, I'm not going to show up to class. And if the teacher asks me anything, I'll tell them. But if they don't, it's fine.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I think it could be something after the audition, like we do the audition, see who is in. and then send this Google form asking how many classes they're gonna miss.
Yeah, it's good because every time I go to class, I have like this spreadsheet where I see how many leaders and followers are going to show up on that night.
Yeah.
So I can already kind of like tweak the class a little bit to understand like who is going to be there, how many are going to be there. Or sometimes maybe there's a guest instructor around and maybe we can ask them, hey, do you want to come over to the team? We're missing one leader or something, and ask them to join the team on that night, or missing a follower. So there's some flexibility when you know ahead of time. But I think it's an idea to maybe make people better at their own commitment to their time and attendance, to have them actually put it down that they're going to be there on those dates instead of just like, yeah, I think I'll be here for the next 3 months. I think I'll be here. Doesn't work.
Yeah. When I think systematically, when I think about the whole process of the learning and of someone who is joining the studio, who is joining the school for the first time, having the teams there in this way in which it's something that you need to audition for, it's a smaller group and, you know, like more of this different kind of learning, it has the potential of creating like something that the student is excited about to achieve over time. You know, so it becomes a motivation aspect of the learning process, you know, and that in itself is valuable to have something that motivates people. I remember when I was in Jaime Arocha's studio in Rio de Janeiro, in my early days, there were no teams, but there were advanced classes that were truly advanced because these are people that have been there for 10 years already, literally. And it was amazing to me to watch them, or to be waiting for my class and see the tail end of the more experienced class. So seeing the more experienced people, knowing that there is an experienced class that I can get into was a huge motivating factor to me. And also watching them dance in the social, of course. But I think the motivation would come a lot more by watching the class, by watching them in class, by seeing what are the things that they were doing. And it was so cool. And I just remember like these little pieces of classes that I watched. There was stuff that I knew how to do. I learned the thing, but the way that they were doing was so different. It was so cool. There was so much variation and embodiment and speed and whoosh. So there was so much more texture into how they were doing what I knew what to do, what I thought I knew what to do. That was very motivating. And the last piece of that motivation, it was that it was someone like me, meaning it was not a professional. It was not someone that dedicates their life to this. It was someone that, like me, was dedicating part of my time to learning this craft, you know, so it was in the hobby realm. It was like, wow, somebody that is not a professional and dedicates more or less as much time as I do, but it just has been doing this for a longer time, can do all these things. So that was really enticing, motivating to me. So the team can also serve that purpose. It served the purpose of motivating everybody else who's not in the team.
Yes. So as a summary, we have the advanced classes, which we personally like to call them for what they are. So call them concepts or techniques or themes. And you can even have like a learning pathway of going like, first you do your level blah, blah, blah. And then you do your level ABC. And then you move into the concepts level, the themed levels. It doesn't need to be beginner, intermediate, advanced. So I think we can free ourselves from that structure. And then you can go into study groups maybe. Maybe forget about the advanced classes, forget about the themes, and just do a study group. Maybe you're in a small community and you're like, you know, I don't know what to do. I have some students who've been dancing for a long time and I don't have a level for them. Okay, cool. Maybe invite them to do a study group where you share something every week. Or maybe one of them brings something to work on every week. Sometimes in our staff training, we have those sessions where someone in the staff, whoever they are, maybe they're just joining the staff team, or maybe they're one of the teachers, will bring something fun to do on that day. And we learn so much from it. So a study group could be just that. Somebody who knows anything, or who just came back from a weekender and would like to practice and train something. And then we have the teams, which are more, I'd say, strict and requires more commitment and more accountability, where there's an audition, there's a minimal level requirement, there's a minimum level of attendance, there is a start and an end, usually. For me, it has to have a start and an end. Otherwise, it's just a study group. It's a team. It has a season, and everybody knows what they're going to get from the start to the end. Not in terms of how many moves or how many sequences, but they know what they're going to work on, and that they're going to work hard every week, and their dancing will be better in 3 months. In whatever journey we go, it'll be better. So I think that's a small summary of everything that we do. And then in addition, of course, like we mentioned before, we have our basics levels and our intermediate levels. Now, all of this has some flexibility. And I tell you, if I go to a new city, I'm probably going to look at that structure and go like, okay, I think I can use this, I can use that, but these parts don't fit into this community yet. Or it will never fit into this community just because of the way it is. So hopefully this episode was a way for you guys to learn a different way to look into everything that you already do as a teacher, as a school owner, director, or as a student, in a way that you can plan to learn in a different way, or plan to structure your learning in a way that, okay, I see now, these are my fundamental courses that I have done. These are my basic courses that I have done. I feel like I'm missing these and I'm missing that. So then you can look for that information, maybe through private lessons or through weekenders, if you don't have a regular course in your community, in your city.
Yeah, that's it. You said it all. I think the models that we have described here might not fit at all to your reality. I think it's important to come up with something for those with more experience, 100%. So we came up with a study group and we came up with the teams. Something to give them the opportunity to learn in the group setting. So whatever you can think about that provides that, whatever name you want to give, good to go. For us here, the main aspect of it is that you have some sort of filtering of those who go into these courses. But guys, this is really important. How many times we have been around and visiting places that had like an advanced level course that had free entry in their weekly program, in their regular classes. And then, of course, we understand the aspect of like, we need people to pay the room. We need people to make this happen in the first place. Our suggestion would be, don't call it advanced, or like we talked about in the previous episode, do something about transitions, do something about variations, which are really challenging already. Like sometimes we think that naming stuff advanced will attract people. And to be fair, it does. Sometimes it does attract people, but it's creating the culture of progression through verifying if the person is really ready to progress into this course. You need to get people used to it. And that's the thing, that takes time. So you need to start at some point creating some sort of filter for those coming into these classes. Yeah, because for us, it's really valuable to learn in the group setting. And then if you have the opportunity to learn in the group setting that everybody is more or less the same amount of level of experience, guys, it's really amazing, because in that exchange, when we are practicing, new things come up and we learn from each other a lot, So you don't need to call it a study group, you don't need to call it a team. But what I think you need is some sort of process to filter who comes into those courses. That's really necessary. And we're really mindful of your minimum prerequisites. let's say, the timing. If somebody doesn't have the timing down, creating the strength in your soul to say, not yet. Not yet.
I
like,
don't care how many spins, toalhas, counterbalances you can do. Your timing sucks.
So in the end, guys, I think that's pretty much what this boils down to. It's like we are creating opportunities for the more experienced people to learn in groups. And for that to truly happen, you need to make sure that everybody in that group is more or less at the same level of experience.
Absolutely. And with that, we want to thank you once again for being here. Thank you, Gui, for participating in another episode and sharing this beautiful wisdom, or Buddha Gui.
My pleasure.
And we hope to see you on our next episode. And please don't forget to follow, subscribe, like, share, do all the things to help us continue reaching out to more people so we continue doing this beautiful podcast that we love so much. Once again, thank you. Beijos, beijos, abraços, and ciao, everybody.
Ciao, my people.